Do you want to become a permanent part of the channel? Check out the Alliteration Gaming Patreon. Here you'll find different tiers that all let you get involved in my videos, as well as provide you with a shout out, exclusive Discord access, and the ability to see my content early and ad free. Now if you're new here, you're gonna need an account on the UGN site. This will let you sign up for events, locate stores near you, and of course accrue those redemption points to use in the loyalty shop. You can even snag yourself 50 bonus points right now if you let me refer you. Until August 30th, when you're signing up, just click on content creator and type my channel name in the box. Regardless of how you do it though, thanks for being part of the Alliteration Nation. Now, let's get on to the video. Good evening, my dear viewers, and welcome to another Alliteration gaming video. My name's Levi, and we have another little deck commission here from Mr. Woody, and he wanted me to put him together a stain deck with all of the check hacks in the world. And I recently had a really funny epiphany with a certain blue card that kind of went very hand in hand with this concept that we wanted to try out here. So this is going to be Evil Stain. It has to be Evil Stain because I'm going to tell you right now, the star of the show here is Strongarm. I know I usually kind of go like, you know, through the whole deck, but Strongarm is essentially this action card from the new Plus Ultra pack that says we get to change our next combo requirement to Punch. Blood Moon Rending, one of my favorite cards in the whole wide world, we get to do this with Blood Moon not being our third attack, or sometimes our second if we have like a weapon foundation, but instead is our first attack. We get to just open with Strongarm into Blood Moon and instantly get to rip out something from their hand, you know, get our 7 damage in, and then proceed with our turn from there. And I think that's so gnarly. On top of that, it's going to play into our theme because this card also says after your rival tries to block with a non-attack, you can play it and give their check -3. Now, lo and behold, that is also what Mr. Stain 1 does here, responding to give their check -3. So defensively, this can, like, you know, essentially just make them discard cards because they're allowed to fail it. But offensively, this is like a surprise 3 speed on top of all of our weapons having 1 speed. We can stack this and a Strongarm for a surprise 6 speed on something like our big Blood Moons, or on something like a huge slashing whirlwind, or something pumped up by Needle Stab, or Needle Stab with its massive damage itself. So like this deck, the goal of this deck is kind of just to like poke and prod really efficiently, play Blood Moons by only having to commit 2 cards to our chain, and then once we have them within a lethal range, they really have to watch out because suddenly with Stain and a Strongarm, 6 speed could just come out of nowhere and the attack isn't blockable anymore and things get really hairy. So that's kind of where like the Needle Stab's getting really big and the Whirlwind's getting really big, and then of course Blood Moon playing really well with our Strongarms. As far as our pokes, Stain does say that our rival has to have taken damage to get this response online. So we have it really frustrating pokes. They have to block our ignited arrows or they're going to let us do things. Also, it's for 5 damage because they burn 1 from Stain. So they have to block our ignited arrows and on top of that, you know, kind of like in the mid-late game when you're trying to, maybe if you don't have the Strongarm and you're trying to assemble those 3-card Blood Moon strings, that's tough to do as a 6-hander. So Ignited Arrow helps you by being 1 weapon into 2 weapons all the time. It's very nice. Piercing Needle is just a 6 mid for 3 in this deck. That's really good for trying to get Stain online early, and also, you know, we get to put like the 1/1s on him, so it just all stacks really well. This card's got sick deadlock and sick momentum abilities as well. And then Laceration is the card that, you know, quote unquote makes Stain 1 viable. It is Electric Jolt on a combo enhance for Stain. Very good. So we have like a kind of like a flurry of ways to get ourselves online pretty early, or make it very annoying for our rival to keep us offline until like our really easy Blood Moons with the Strongarms come in, and then we get to just do all of these big bombs with some surprise speed on them. You'll be very surprised. I mean, things stack up so fast, right? Whirlwind goes from base 5 speed to 6 speed. A Stain response makes it essentially a 9 speed. A Strongarm thrown in makes it like a 12 speed. Just gets really crazy, really fast, and makes for like some super duper sick finale plays there. Going into our foundations, we have a lot of weapons in here. Floating and Serum Bullets mean we have all weapons in our foundation, our 0 lineup, which is good because Blood Moon doesn't have to combo with a weapon attack, just an attack and then a weapon. So we can also go like 1 attack into Weapon Foundation into Blood Moon, or we can Strongarm into Blood Moon. The goal of this deck is to just make this super powerful card a lot less cumbersome and awkward to use. So our zeros help a lot with that, as well as just having some decent abilities on them. Intimidating Presence just kind of like pads out a little bit of speed reduction in our deck. Evil, it's really hard to find speed reduction, so I don't mind it on here, and again, it's a weapon. Full attack mode is very good for just putting like an extra +1 damage on top of the +1 damage, just more health loss onto all our moves. It's also very good with Laceration because it's always going to deal 2 damage at that point, right, which is really sick. It would Stain, then it'll always deal 3 damage. Then it's like you have to block this move, and then you full block it, take 1, and then burn for 2. How annoying. Refreshing Slice is again a weapon and also just a nice momentum out here. There's like a hefty amount of momentum outs, but the deck's not super reliant on a ton of them, so I wanted to have a nice variety of them. Lust for Battle, we're just playing our theme here. When we check this card, we get to just say -1 to your next check. You can also discard this via Blood Moon Rending to do that as well, which is really, really cool. Challenging the Fakes is of course much more heavy check hacking. Having challenging end stain response kind of online makes it really hard for your rival to like plan for their turn, because you're like, okay, -3 on that one, or flip -2 to your next one. Okay, I'll throw this one away. Now I'll play the one I actually wanted to play. Oh, Stain -3 to that one. It can be really annoying, and Stain 1 plays this one a lot better because he's a chunky 29 health guy as opposed to Stain 2. Hero Killer is just really busted deadlock in case games go kind of late. You know, it's just fantastic deadlock piece, and also a nice little tech removal as well. Conflict of Ideologies is just a little bit of ways more to interact with their board. You know, this gets to remove things, this gets to freeze their stuff, which again really good with Laceration because it, you know, they can't stop it from dealing a damage, so you're gonna get your free conflict procs off of that, which is really good. In Control, again, just this card does check a 4, which I don't like, but it is also very handy. -speed, also that plus speed, not irrelevant. Again, those big moves we were talking about earlier that we're trying to jam through, like the whirlwinds and the needle stabs. Again, it's just more speed stacking on speed. A random +2 speed onto like our needle stab. Suddenly, that's 9-10 damage to the face that they actually have to be dealing with, which is super duper tough. Also, if they're playing throws, it's more check hack. So if they're trying to fight through like our stain response, challenging, etc., and if they have to play a throw somewhere in there, this also gets to come in here and be really nice. Citywide Crisis, we're a Blood Moon deck, right? We're discarding their cards. We don't want them drawing more cards during our turn. Citywide stops them from doing this, and also once again pads out not really having speed reduction inside of our deck because it can remove itself to set something to printed speed. So it's a nice little kind of floodgate there. And then League Invitation is just a fantastic card all around, but also again really good check hacking. Not only do we get to target commit their stuff if we want to, but also we can just leave it be and have it be like a fake +2 speed, right, by -2 to their block check. The idea of this deck is really just trying to put like -8, -9 with a bunch of moving parts onto their block check, and then just catch them. Just totally catch them with these really big moves. We have a singular twisty surroundings in here because again, it's even more check hacks. Again, the caveat of Stain is that it's a check hack they're allowed to fail, so it really just says like discard a card. But when you're stacking so many check hacks like the mission of this deck was, suddenly we're actually gonna have to start passing some of those because we can't discard all of our cards. We can't just fail all of our checks and just try to play cards after that, you know. Also, I like that this gets to, you know, it's a momentum, so it's a little bit of a hunger resource here. But if we go like Blood Moon and then they're holding like a bunch of mids and we can't rip all their mids out, right, we can like then change it to like a high or a low or something, and that's going to be really annoying because in general just like half blocking Stain is really annoying because you're still going to lose that 1 health, and it feels bad on those like low damage moves. So it's really great there with the Blood Moons. Lets us just do some nice mind games, and if we're just sitting on like a heap of momentum and we open like a strong arm into a Blood Moon, now we know their hand for the turn, we can like, you know, just like change on every zone and feel really good about ourselves getting to play around whatever blocks they were holding. Action-wise, we already talked about Strong Arm. This card is really fantastic with Blood Moon. Makes the card way less awkward to use. I've got to want to Mastermind in here because Woody really wanted to play Masterminding in this. I think if Strong Arm wasn't like the super cool thing of this deck and we could jam like, you know, more actions, totally would. But we just threw in the one Mastermind just for the theme. That one right there is for the fans. And I mean, our rival is going to be failing checks at some point. it will happen. And then we have a one of Hold Hostage as well, just because, again, we get to see their hand, and then we get to rip a card out and then proceed from there. You know, when you're defensively using your Stain Response in tandem with other defensive check hacks and you're trying to make them fail checks and throw away cards to fail their checks, getting one more card out of their hand can be what stops them from getting to do that, which is really good. And then you're going into your turn now knowing the contents of their hand. We're just a deck that can utilize this card really, really well. And that's just kind of the theme of the deck. Like I said, we're just trying to poke and prod, and kind of bulk up until we get them into, like, you know, until we get them into essentially whatever a lethal range for our move is, be it the 14 of a Whirlwind or like the 9 of a Needle Stab or even the 7 of a Blood Moon Rending, and just say, I'm going to minus so much to your block check, and you're just going to actually surprise die out of nowhere. I think it's really, 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 really funny. I think it's like kind of the hidden sauce of Stain 1, that you get to just go like, surprise, +3 speed on top of my +1 speed, and then it's a pile of stats that can suddenly become really effective out of nowhere, and it makes blocking this deck early on really hard, because you're like, oh, I feel like I have to block early on, because if I wait, if I take too much damage and then wait and go into lethal territory, then he's going to send in all the hacks and then I can't do anything. So you got to block early on, which can then just leave them open, you know, without any hacks to just your really, 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 really big moves. And I think, you know, a couple new things like Needle Stab in the weapon package lets it play like that really, really, really well. But that's it for our deck, guys. This was a fun little one I had to work on. When Woody sent me this mission of a check hack Stain deck, I was like, yo, I just realized the other day that Strong Arm into Blood Moon Rending is a thing. So actually, that sounds very, very, very cool. A very good marriage of the concepts together there coming into this deck. That's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want your own little commission, you have your own mission you want to send me to put together a deck for, you can check out my Patreon link down below, and I also have other things like build a decks down there if you want a more one-on-one experience. But even if you don't, I appreciate you just making it all the way to the end of this video. That's all the time I've got, but I hope I can see you in the next one.